Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to the United Man. My name is Shane. This is the Manchester United versus Watford preview. First of all, before we get into the FA Cup third round match against Watford, just wanted to touch on a few things with regarding the Manchester City game. Um, Now, I feel like the Watford game shouldn't be too much of an issue. Shouldn't be being the operative word. The reason I'm highlighting that is purely because we we made a bit of a we made life hard for ourselves by not playing to a consistent level. But I feel like when we come up against teams like, for example, Watford, I know they're in the Championship, but they've pretty much got a Premier League squad. But when we're playing against the likes of City, um, realistically we should be handing it to them in terms of putting our best foot forward. And I don't feel like we showed our best sort of stance really yesterday at all. Um, that being said, I know we've played a lot of games. I know some certain players will need a rest, but at the same time, you know, if you're not fit enough, or if you need a rest, you've got to come out. By not doing that, and if you're not going to be able to put in your best performance, you're actually putting United in a sort of more of a difficult situation. So realistically, we do need to, so obviously we need to manage the situation a bit better in terms of, okay, we need to know when players need to have a rest. We can't do what we did towards the end of the last season, where we're just playing the same team, we're playing the same players and not getting a rest. Their performance are diminishing because it's not just a physical thing; it's also clearly a mental thing as well, because it's mentally draining to continually being at a high level. If you're doing it 2 games a week, maybe they can get they're used to that. But when it's like sort of 3 games in sort of like 6 days, it's a big ask. It's a massive ask. So that being said, I feel like we should look into using the squad. For example, Donny van der Beek getting 3 minutes, was it, at the end of the game. um, it's hard to look at Ollie and think, yeah, you planned that really well. You know, Greenwood obviously playing Rashford on the right hand side, as opposed to his natural off the left hand side, and putting Greenwood on the right. It looked a lot more balanced. It wasn't obviously in play for that long, but it looked a lot more balanced. Um, that being said, I do feel like we do need to play certain players to get results against certain teams, but we don't need to play those players all the time. So with that being said, I'm going to go through my list of players who I've got down. I believe Ollie will go with against the team against Watford. I believe that he'll go with Dean Henderson again in goal. Um, I'm hopeful that he's patient with Dean Henderson, because I don't feel like he's had a proper run of games yet. I feel like he's been used sparingly, and that doesn't equate to getting anywhere near your best form. So for me, you've got to be able to give the lads a fair opportunity if you're willing to get the best out of them in terms of seeing what whether they're ready or not. For example, Van der Beek, he's getting minutes here and there, little scraps of minutes every now and then, not every single game. So, for example, if he was coming on and he could expect to get, say, for example, half an hour each and every single game, he could mentally prepare himself to put all his effort out for a 30-minute period. Or if he knew he was going to play every other game, if he knew he was going to start every cup game, for example, you can mentally prepare for that. But when you're not starting, you never know when you're going to start, you never know when you're going to come on, you never know how many minutes you're going to get. It kind of causes a bit of a situation, let's say, where you're going to be like, oh well, I don't know when I'm going to be playing then. So, and that being said, you end up somewhat in a precarious situation. Like, well, what's the point in trying my best and training every single day if I feel like I'm doing that and I'm never going to get an opportunity, or I feel like I'm only going to get a couple of minutes here and there. So you do need to be able to be consistent with the opportunities that you're giving the lads as well. I feel giving them a fair chance. I feel like he's going to give Dean Henderson another run. I feel like he'll rest Wan-Bissaka and put Tuanzebe back in there. I think he'll go with Lindelof and Maguire again. I think he'll start Alex Telles. He just loves Lindelof. He just absolutely loves Lindelof. He obviously loves Harry Maguire as well. But yeah, I don't see the fascination between the two of them. I'd love to see Twinzebe and Eric Bailly just start a game together, see how effective they are or not, as the case may be. He's tried Bailly and Maguire. That's been pretty effective, I'd say, since they've played together. But yeah, let's see what is our best centre back pairing. If you're just playing Maguire in every single game, every minute of every single game, I know he's your club captain choice, but you've got to see what works for the best. We're still conceding goals, we're still conceding silly goals. So for me, you have to be able to be like, okay, that's not working. Let's change that. Obviously, the midfield wasn't working, and that's what I wanted to touch on as well. This is where I feel like the Premier League will be won or lost, and that's the central midfield area. Pogba didn't play like he did previous game. Obviously, he did. Bruno Fernandes hasn't really been on his top performing best. I believe he needs a rest, like many of you do as well. But it's Fred and McTominay as our sort of ball winning midfielder and holding midfielder, or deep line playmaking midfielder, and maybe Scott McTominay a little bit. If you look at a direct comparison with Manchester City and what we've got, I feel like it's a big gap between the two. And for example, Fred and McTominay versus Gundogan and Fernandinho, how they perform on a regular basis, what their ability is, and what they do on a regular basis. That for me, they're levels apart, and that was for me the telling difference. Now, Kevin De Bruyne to Bruno Fernandes, there's not much difference. Maybe I'd say Kevin De Bruyne is a bit more consistent in terms of levels. He'll do 7 out of 10 consistently and then drop an 8 and 9 in there. Whereas Bruno would be a 7, 7, 7, 6.5, 7, 7, 7, 8, and then drop a 9 in as well. Kevin De Bruyne has been in the Premier League a lot longer, obviously. So, you've got to give Bruno time to fully get his feet under the table. And, he's adapted pretty well. Most goal involvements, obviously, since he's been at United. But he's still learning the Premier League. He's still learning how the nuances of, obviously, the amount of games, the League Cup, FA Cup, obviously Premier League, European football. It's a lot of games, and obviously he'll be playing international football in between as well. Well, he would have done, I should say. So we've got to get used to that, obviously. I believe he's gonna go with. I think he'll go with Matic this time around. I think he'll go with Scott McTominay again. I think he'll rest Bruno Fernandes and start Paul Pogba. I also believe that realistically he's got to start Mason Greenwood. I think he'll give Daniel James a run from the left-hand side, Mason Greenwood on the right, and he'll go with Rashford down the middle. I don't see how he can start. I really don't see how he can start Anthony Martial over Mason Greenwood realistically. Martial does a lot of good things in terms of his hold-up play sometimes. His main attribute is being able to dribble in and out of tight spaces and create shots in, half chances, if you like. But that being said, yeah, I'd like to see us do a little bit more, give opportunities to players that haven't been playing. I mean, we've got a good bench, a very good bench. Juan Mata, you could stick in that number 10 spot instead of Bruno Fernandes or Paul Pogba. For me, that's what I'll be doing, but I think he'll go with Paul Pogba again. Or give some of the youngsters a bit of a run at the under 23s. There's no harm in it. I know we want to win a trophy this season, but for me, it goes Premier League first, then it goes European football, so that's Europa League, then it goes FA Cup, and lastly the League Cup. And I'm not just saying that because we're out, but I feel like in terms of importance, it's got to be Premier League. Now that we're in a position to do something in the Premier League, European football, Europa League, FA Cup, and then League Cup. So for me, I think he started a strong team because he wanted to beat City. But you need ball players. Unless you're going to have central midfielders that are going to break teams down massively, which we don't. Fred's a bit too weak. I think he's got a bit of a problem in terms of ball retention. And ultimately, McTominay, he's sort of a tweener. He's not a great tackler. He's not a fantastic passer. He's not a great shooter. He's not great in the air. He's not fast. He's not the most physical. He's not the most, he's just a bit of a tweener. He's not excellent in any one specific area. He just sort of he's good in a lot of areas, or decent, should I say, in a lot of areas. So whereas when you've got your specialist, Bruno's a creator, a goal scorer. Pogba is physical, very good passer, good long range shooter. Fred and McTominay, they don't really specialise or shine in any one specific area. They're always going to be, for me, they just got shown up by Gundogan and Fernandinho, who was their counterparts. If you got Pogba and Bruno versus Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, say, it's a bit of a non-starter in terms of the difference between Pogba and Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne and Bruno. There's not much difference in ability or performance. Consistency, I would say the City players have. They have more consistency. But in terms of how we face up tomorrow, before we go into that, what I'll do, I'll have a look at the comments and see who's involved. We have, hello there, 4-1 to United on Saturday. Rashford, Shaw, Fred and Pogba to score. That's very, very, very on the point. And I like the confidence there in all honesty. The fact that you've gone with lots of goals. I like that. The only thing I feel like we'll be missing, I'm in agreement. I think we'll score goals. And same thing there. You've gone with 4-1. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. I am doing good. I'm just hoping against hope's sake that we manage to get the victory. Danny's in here. What's going on, Danny? Ellie's in here. Terry's in the place. Much appreciated for you joining us, guys. Harry Maguire's head has got its own gravitational pull. How do you like that one? And yes, that is the case. I agree, but he's not scoring goals where he did at Leicester, Hull, England. He looked dangerous on set pieces all the time, but it's just not happening for Harry Maguire at the minute in terms of scoring goals. Bruno has been better than Kevin De Bruyne since he's arrived, but after one bad game, everyone is on his back now, and that's a very good point. I know people are saying stuff about Bruno. The guy needs a rest. Man. If you see how many games he played since he's been at Manchester United, it's a lot of games. He's literally just not non-stop. He wants to play every single game, but the problem is, if he continues to play every single game, it's so hard physically and mentally to keep up a high level of performance, as opposed to just giving a guy a break for 2 games, say, because obviously now the games are coming thick and fast. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in 14 days. That's madness, so something like that. So that's a lot of games. So we have to be aware of players needing rest, and if they're not getting the rest, their performance level is going to drop. They're going to get injuries. It's to be expected. So for that reason, I just feel like we need to be aware. And people shouldn't be getting on Bruno's back, but ultimately he didn't play his best, did he? He wasn't able to, because simply put, he's playing too many games. Simple as that. So I feel like no one should be getting on his back anyway. That's for sure. He should be given a rest. This is what happened towards the end of last season. Shouldn't be anywhere near the Watford game, because those guys like to kick people anyway. Stick one matter in there. I think he'll play Paul Pogba because of his physical ability. But yeah, give some players a rest. That's what I'd say. Danny's, what's going on, Danny? Danny's saying Palestri on the bench. I'd go for that, absolutely. I just feel like we need to, balance it. These guys are playing so many games. We've got Van der Beek. We've got Juan Mata. We've got Matic. I know he's not the greatest anymore, but rotate. Otherwise, you start dropping in performances. Then injuries start happening, like it did last season. Look at Rashford's injury towards the middle part of last season. I think it's actually this time last season, where he had a stress fracture in his back purely because he's played too many games. Those injuries, stress fracture on your back, are directly related to repetitive strain, too many games, basically. Terry Weeks is going on. Yes, Shane, good shout with the give youth a chance. It's the only way forward, realistically, isn't it? I feel. Obviously, Danny's made the point there with Palestri on the bench. No reason why not. Nothing to lose. Literally nothing to lose. I feel like we should be focusing on the Premier League and European football this season anyway. We can't win it all, so that's why we need to be giving players rests basically, and giving players in turn an opportunity. Simple as that. Terry Weeks also says give Bruno a well-deserved rest and give Donny van de Beek an equally deserved chance to show us what he can do. Please, please. I mean, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? I mean, and I feel like when he does come on, he's just now trying not to make mistakes as opposed to affecting the game like he normally would, because his confidence level has obviously gone down considerably because he's not played. His match sharpness won't be there. His timing won't be there. His cadence won't be there. So when he first came and he first played a game, obviously his adrenaline is there. He's ready. He's popping. He's wanting to make an impact. But since then, Ollie's just basically been the guy. And so if you're telling me we spent, unless he's done something wrong to Ollie or someone in the squad, and you know, I don't understand it. I really don't. So I do think he'll give a couple of players a rest. And all these sports science geezers, surely they must be saying to all these guys, you know, to Ollie, this player needs a rest, that player needs a rest. All those vests that they wear that records, you know, how much effort they're putting out, what all the toxins in their body, how much rest they need. Surely, they should be ultimately listening, or they certainly should be giving advice to Ollie. Whether Ollie listens to that or not, I don't know. But one thing I know, Ollie has his favourites, and it's like by hook or by crook, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to stick with these guys. Lindelof, Fred, McTominay. You know, it's like we've got Alex Telles, you know, he's a brilliant attacking fullback on the left hand side, absolutely brilliant, and he complements Wan-Bissaka on the right, who isn't the best attacking fullback, but obviously he's up there, but naturally he's not great going forwards from his wing back position. He's just not. So Alex Telles on the other hand is naturally very gifted going forwards, very gifted with putting the ball into dangerous areas. You know, it's all about balance. Partnerships. Harry Maguire, Bay, you know, it's all about partnerships in teams dotted around. So yeah, we really do need to make sure we're not shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to make sure that we're, you know, when your top players aren't performing. I was having this conversation with Terry actually about when your best players aren't performing, what do you do? When there's one of them not performing, fine, you can get away with it. When there's two not performing, okay, bit more of a tougher test. But when you've got 3 or 4 of your best players not performing on a consistent basis, it absolutely knocks the socks off you. Obviously, it looks like Rashford needs a rest as well, but I think Ollie's going to start him against Watford. Just give youth a chance, man. There's no reason to be forcing it. We've got nothing to lose. We're at home. It's in the 3rd round. It's not a semi-final, so it's not like you have to push it to try and get into the final place. We played lots of games last season. Let's just give other players opportunities. There's no reason why we shouldn't. And I feel like if Ollie's not doing that, then there's a problem. If Van der Beek doesn't start the next game, there is 100% there is a problem there with Van der Beek. He has a problem with Van der Beek for some reason. He was an Ollie signing, but the guy's not got a look in. Strange, very, very strange. Watford, however, you know, they've been doing decent in the Championship. Obviously losing, was it day before yesterday? Losing that game against Derby, but they're always dangerous. It's a squad full of Premier League players. They're gonna cause us a problem. I don't feel like we're gonna be in a mega dogfight. They're gonna be physical, but in terms of them coming at us and playing football out footballing us, basically, I don't feel like we're going to be in a predicament like that. So let's just see what happens. I'm just fingers crossed Ollie gives people a rest, man. They need it, and it's clear. And this is what happened towards the end of last season. We started, the same starting lineup for 6 Premier League games in a row, 5 or 6 Premier League games in a row, and that hadn't been done since 1994 or something mad like that. Just goes to show that we need to make sure, you know. And then towards the end, we was crawling over the finish line into 3rd place last season because the players were just burnt out, playing every single game, every minute of every single game, and yeah, like I say, it's just burnt players out. Danny's saying we don't see Teddy on the bench anymore, even though he had high praise from Ollie. This is what I'm saying. You know, that's a good point there, Danny. We have players that come in every now and then, do really well, then they disappear. Teddy think he played. I can't remember what game it was now. It was a European game, I think it was. One of the group stages. He had a good game. Didn't see him again. I know he's not done the best in the under 23 since, but still, you know. Twinzebe, when he played against PSG, played really well. Fantastic. First game in, I think it was 10 or 11 months for the guy. Played fantastically well. Didn't see him again for months and months and months. Until he played right back, replacing Wan-Bissaka. Eric Bailly, same thing when he come on against Chelsea last season, played fantastic well after months and months out. Didn't see him again. The only reason he got an opportunity recently is because Victor Lindelof got an injury. So Ollie clearly has his favourites, but it's to the detriment of us, unfortunately. I feel we'll score quite a few goals. I'm feeling the 4-1 score, in all honesty. I'm feeling that I don't think we keep a clean sheet against Watford. But I'm feeling the 4-1. I'm definitely feeling the 4-1 for sure. So yeah, it's one of those where we've got to be patient, because we didn't think we was going to be in a position to win the Premier League this season. I certainly didn't. I felt we'd be a third place team again, maybe fourth, depending on the signs that we made, depending on how the injuries went throughout the season. Definitely didn't think we'd be in a position at this point, nearly halfway through the season mathematically, to be challenging for the title. Do I think we're going to win it? No. And I think if you're looking realistically, the consistency of our players, our best players, that's where it tells. Rashford is off. Martial is off. Greenwood hasn't been in the same form that he's been in last season. He's been up and down. Pogba's been off recently. Bruno's had a couple of off games. Maguire's never really got it together, although he's looked his best he has done this season whilst playing alongside Eric Bailly. We just haven't been to the levels that we need to, realistically. And when other teams are playing to their best, i.e. Liverpool's, your Cities, your Spurs, when them teams are playing at their best at the moment is better than our best. In terms of consistency over a period of games, their best is better than our best, and that's what we need to be mindful of. So but we still need to be mindful of the amount of games that we're playing and the lack of rest that our players are getting as well. Shane, in your view, would there be grounds to play both Bailly and Tuanzebe together for this game, which would mean dropping Maguire? Absolutely. Touching it earlier, there's no reason, and again, myself and Terry were talking about it before. There's no reason why we shouldn't. Again, we don't have a lot to lose. It's the third round of the FA Cup at home against Watford. We've just lost in the semi-final to Manchester City. Let's go. Let's give players these opportunities. We need to find out what our best team is, our best formation is. Unless you experiment, we do not know what that is. So for me, I'd give that a call. One shout I want to make as well. We're struggling for the CDM position. We're buying players. We're buying young players, which I love, by the way. Not spending tons of massive amounts on these players. However, we we do have players in the squad, that are young and haven't had the opportunity. I love Tuanzebe. He hasn't. I don't feel like he's going to get a look in at centre back, because after you got Maguire, then you got Lindelof, and Bailly's only got a look in because Lindelof got injured, despite Bailly absolutely showing up and being a boss in centre back position next to Maguire. Ollie, as soon as Victor Lindelof was fit, chucked him back in. Bin by. So I don't think Tuanzebe will get a look in, because he's fourth one down the list. So that being said, we're struggling at CDM position. He's naturally a good defender. He reads the game well, very athletic, decent on the ball. Give him an opportunity at CDM. Tuanzebe for the CDM position. Just saying. Just saying. I'm sorry, hashtags are out in it, yeah, so I shouldn't say that. But yeah, Tuanzebe, give him an opportunity in the CDM position. He's not going to do any worse than Fred and McTominay have been doing there. And Matic, sorry. Not saying those guys have been rubbish, but we need better than decent in those positions, and it shows. It showed against City, and yeah, I think we should be mindful of that for sure. Danny's saying we probably don't see Maguire and Wan-Bissaka playing their best anymore because they're playing every game. There you go. That's a staple there, isn't it? The fact that they're playing every single game, the minutes that they've got under the belt, the minutes that they've got in their legs, they're tired. They're tired. You're not going to get the best out of players. Like I said earlier, you're not going to get the best out of players when they're tired. You're not going to get the best out of players when ultimately they need a rest. You'll get lack of performances and you'll get injuries. That's all you'll get by playing the same team week in, week out. That's all you're going to get. Ryan Anthony's in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Long time no see. Yeah. Just gotta be mindful of it, and we just have to literally, I suppose, yeah, just Ollie has to listen to his advisors. I'm sure his advisor will be telling him these guys need a rest. Take them out. 1 game, 2 games, whatever it is, take him out. We've got Burnley afterwards. Yep. No reason why not. We can't rest him against 1 or 2 players against Burnley. Just saying. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Just a quick catch up on the City and preview of the Watford game. Make sure you're joining me because let's see. Going to be touching on another live video with regards to the Watford game before we kick off. Just a pre-match warm-up with all things. Once we know what the team line is going to be, do a quick 15 minute pre-match warm-up. Going to go through that as well. Yeah, much appreciated for you joining us, guys. Terry, Danny, Ryan, Ellie, well, hello there. Yeah, much appreciated, guys. I shall see you in the next one. Take care. Thank you.